Suffolk Pod Show is produced and managed by podtalk.co.uk. I'm Mark Mason.
And I'm Susanna Hornby.
Episode 34. Susanna talks to 5 inspiring guests who tell us their fascinating stories and success in business.
We have Clair Bryant, who is the founder of her award-winning business, The Handy Marketing Company. Welcome, Clair.
Good morning. Hello. Thank you. It's lovely to be here, although rather strange being on the other side. But yeah, no, thank you. Thank you for having me.
It does you good now and again to be on the other side.
Such a strange experience. It's a new one for me. So we'll see how it goes.
It'll be fine. Let's start with congratulations, shall we?
Oh, thank you. I'm absolutely stoked. I can't believe it. So, last week I found out I won the best SME marketing consultancy for East Anglia, which, I'm absolutely over the moon about it. So, and especially as I'm only 11 months old. Can you believe it? An award within the first 11 months. So, yeah, I'm absolutely delighted with it.
Yeah, well, congratulations. And funny enough, I've been following you on various, Instagram, Facebook, whatever. You are everywhere with your company. What you do is brilliant. It's already been noted. So well done and congratulations. That's just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Clair,
Thank you.
You grew up mainly in Bury St Edmunds?
Yeah, I'm originally actually from Luton, if you can't tell from the accent, because most people are like, well, where's your accent from? And it's like a massive hybrid. I moved here with my family in the late 80s to a village just outside Newmarket. And I'm really lucky because my parents are still there. And I now live in another village, the other side of Newmarket. So I got a little bit away, but not that far away. And then my brother is a teacher in Ipswich. So we're all still really close to each other, which is fab.
Oh, I love that. And it's so nice. It's just such a lovely thing to be near family, particularly at the moment when we can't go very far.
Yeah, well, I saw my brother for the first time in 6 months the other day because with him being a teacher, he's been still kept going. So it was really cool to see him. But yes, I have been my mum and dad's dog's body. So yeah,
that's why they had you, Clair.
Yeah, I know, right? That's what I felt. But to be fair, they did give me food and wine, so I can't really complain, can I?
No, you cannot. No, you did escape them once. You went to Huddersfield.
I did. Yeah, I did. It feels like a lifetime ago now. I mean, my youthful looks would say otherwise, but it was a long time ago. But I originally actually went up to Huddersfield, so I went up north. And I graduated in multimedia design, which everybody always pulls a bit of a face when I say that, but it was a hybrid degree. So hybrid's all the word at the moment, and even back then it was. So I did graphic and web design. So back then, which was like 1998, this was all new stuff. So I'm old school. And then, so I did that. And then when I returned to Suffolk, I discovered I was way more interested in marketing. And that's when I made the move into it. But to be fair, it's awful because people are always like, oh, do you not feel like you wasted your money on your degree? But not at all, because I think it's actually given me a huge edge in marketing. So, yeah, really cool.
I'm sure it has. And so how did you actually make that switch into marketing?
Oh, well, after I say this because it's typical me. Throughout university, I had lecturers say to me all the time, you should go into marketing, because we had to do a level of marketing with what we were doing. And I was like, no, I was determined. No, I'm going to be a designer. That's what I want to be. I don't know what I thought the lifestyle was going to be like. But anyway, when I got back to Suffolk, the hard reality slapped me in the face. And I couldn't stand being dictated to by clients in terms of how a design should be or how they wanted a campaign. And all the time I was thinking, no, you need to do it like this or you need to do it like that. So eventually I thought, do you know what, just go into marketing, because then you get a say in how everything happens and you're actually the one that's then briefing designers.
Yeah.
So I was really lucky. I landed someone took a chance on me and I landed a marketing role. And then within about 4 years of starting out in marketing, I became a marketing manager for a pharmaceutical company. And then literally the dizzy heights from there on in were literally rocketed up at a rate of knots. And I ended up, my last marketing position was at Marshall Aerospace and Defence in Cambridge, which was a very cool job. But I'm mostly known for the 7 years I spent as regional marketing manager for the Jockey Club, which was an incredible job to have as a marketer. Can you imagine, sort of having that leeway to do what you want to do and going from the likes of marketing concerts for Kylie Minogue, Tom Jones, Meatloaf, etc., doing all the lovely Ladies' Day stuff, getting dressed up, suited and booted all the time, to the really exciting side of wearing Rolly the mascot on
the
a hot summer's day. Yeah. So you do everything on a race day. You get involved, and so sometimes there was dizzy highs, sometimes there was very hot moments. Good fun though.
Can't even wear a decent pair of shoes wearing a big old costume like that.
No, and the feet were enormous because I'm quite short. I'm 5'4". So I couldn't even see out of them. So I used to have to hold on to people's hands. And it just, honestly, I can't tell you. If there'd been a camera in there, my face must have been a picture. So really good fun, though. So I've got some crazy stories from those days.
I'm going to have to find those. So I'm guessing it was whilst you were at the Jockey Club that you suddenly thought, I'd really like to do this myself.
Yeah, I sort of always had it in the back of my mind that I wanted to set up on my own. And I knew, the thing is, though, is that because I'd had such a good career, it's always hard, I think, to walk away from something like that. And especially to walk away from the race course, because like I say, you're like a family and it's a lot of fun. So to come away from something like that was a big decision. And when I left, I did have aspirations. I left them in 2017. I did have aspirations to start freelancing, which I dabbled with for 6 months. But if I'm really honest about the situation, I was more interested in being a lady that lunched than actually getting on and doing work.
You don't sound like that at all, Claire.
I know, right? Who would have thought this? So I just, my mum and dad were so shocked, I can tell you. So I literally got to a point where I was like, I really need to start getting on and doing what I needed to do. But I don't know why. I just didn't really, the problem was I didn't have the confidence. I hadn't really thought it through, if I'm really honest about it. So I thought, and I started dabbling, and then I got a really good job offer with Marshall Aerospace and Defence. So I lured back into that. Fast forward to last year, like a lot of people, I beautifully got made redundant twice in the beginning of the year. And joy. But on the second redundancy, I was really lucky because the business I was working for were really supportive. And I said, do you know what? It's now or never. I knew there was a big gap in the market because people were furloughing their staffs. And, there was a lot of businesses that were having to pivot really quickly and change their marketing. Yeah. And just everyday conversations were leading to the fact that I was like, this is the time to do it. This is the time to do it. I literally took a leap of faith and genuinely invested my last penny, my heart and soul. I actually did it this time. I was sensible. I built a business plan, the whole lot, and I absolutely put it in. And thank goodness, here I am nearly a year later, and all's going good. So, yeah. Yeah,
I mean, as you've just said, so many businesses have had to do that and sadly had to let people go. But of course, that's one of the major gaps in the market for you now as a marketing company. When people have actually had to make their entire departments redundant, you can step in as a consultancy.
Yeah, and I do sort of try and be a bit of everything, to be honest with you, which I've always sort of stayed at. But I have always tried to remain that I can do everything. And particularly at the moment, with a lot of business owners are suddenly finding they're having to learn hard and fast about marketing. And it is often seen as a bit of a dark art. And I do like to demystify that, because I hate my particular hate is when people overcomplicate marketing or use all the terms and everything like that to people that just genuinely want to know what the solution is. Yeah. Here's my challenge. What's the solution? I like stepping into that arena where I can really help people and make an impact, especially at a time when, like you say, they've lost departments, they've lost the knowledge, if you like. So this is an opportunity for me to be able to help businesses into doing that. And I'm so passionate about supporting local businesses as well. Businesses that don't particularly have the world's biggest budget, and trying to make sure that they're getting the most bang for the buck, if you like. Yeah. So, and I use the freelance community around me as well, because it's very difficult when you're a small marketing business as well. People look at you and think, can you handle it? I like to call us the A team, but that's just in my head. So what I like
you did actually say that out loud.
It's true though. I have many like situations for this, and every time I call upon my other like freelancers community and the other consultants, I do have the A team theme in my head every time, because what we tend to do is collaborate and start work on bigger projects, because we still keep the costs under. We're really cost effective when we do that. And there is such talent out there. There really is. You don't have to go to a big agency and pay the big bucks to do that. Or at the moment, you don't have to have the in-house resource. You can rely on us guys to help you deliver what you need to happen.
And you really are, as you just said, getting value for your money, because your experience in so many different marketing spheres is incredible. And you wouldn't get that from employing one person as a marketing manager necessarily. No,
and I laugh when you say that, because some of it is because I am well and truly a marketing geek, 100%. So I think because I had the design behind me, I've always been interested in different spectrums of the marketing mix, and kind of always made sure that I got qualified in everything, both traditional and digital marketing, because I honestly believe as a marketer, the more capable and hands-on you are, the more accurate you are to people's challenges, being able to support businesses, because I can look at it holistically as opposed to just looking at a silo and saying, well, this is what you need to do. I can understand how everything fishes in together. And there was also an element of, I had big teams underneath me, and, I didn't want to be in a position where they, I was that boss that didn't know what they were doing. I've always wanted to be on that side. So because of that, I managed to offer a huge range, which is awful because it sounds like you're jack of all trades and master of none, doesn't it? But honestly, I can. It's like really bad, but I really do, can do everything, and I enjoy everything as well, which is the difference. And I can go from one day writing a blog from a donkey's perspective right through to the next day creating a digital advertising campaign, and I love that variety. So it's fun. It's a lot of fun.
Let's just pick up on a couple of things. I mean, apart from everything that you do, obviously, you are a social media buff, but you're also a great copywriter. Tell us a few. Can you just indulge us in a few of your projects?
Social media is one of my favourites, and it's a weird one because social media is such a marmite of marketing, and that's generally how I describe it, because I can't tell you how many times I have business owners that phone up. Their immediate thing is, I hate social media. And it's like, well, no, I get that. It really is a love or hate it reaction, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's free to use, and given the right approach, it can deliver huge returns on a business. And it's effectively, if I use my own business, it's probably 80% of how I've built my business and got my business leads. So it's an incredible tool to have. And then, sort of copywriting. I genuinely love copywriting. You can probably tell I'm quite a character. And I do this little weird thing where I take on a persona of a business.
Nothing surprises
really
us
weird.
now, Claire.
I know. Stand by. It gets worse. It's like method acting for writers. This is what I do. But these days with keywords and search engine optimization and all the rest of it, it really takes like training and skill to write blogs and websites and e-brochures. So it's usually an area of support a lot of businesses really need a hand with, and it's something I'm quite advocate about. It's got to be right. It really has to be right. And then through to supporting event companies is something I'm also really passionate about because of my background with new market. And, and since then I have dealt with a lot of venues as well, particularly, with the horrible year they've had, and they really have. So because I have got such a huge amount of experience in marketing venues and events with all sorts of budgets as well, not just the big ones, the little ones as well, I'm, again, come down to this passion of supporting local, but I'm also passionate just about really helping businesses. And I really want to help pass on some of that knowledge and know-how to some of the smaller venues to help them boot back up, if you like.
Brilliant. Your energy is extraordinary.
I'll take that as a compliment.
It is meant as well.
Well, good. No, I always think marketing's such a jolly thing in a lot of ways. And it sounds a little bit geeky and like, you want to stick your fingers down your throat kind of job. But it's not. It is really such a lot of fun. And it should be, because you're promoting a service or a business and gone are the days of being really kind of stale and boring. And, it really is about experiences with your customers, and it's about selling the story. It's about putting personality to everything. And, sometimes I do look at my social media and I swear I'm the only one laughing at my little jokes. But I just honestly think it should be about fun, and that's what I try and bring to marketing anyway.
And you do it in huge amounts.
Thank you.
How do people get in touch with you, Claire?
Through my website, thehandymarketingcompany.com, or on my Instagram account, which is at handymarketingco. I couldn't fit the whole word on, so it's just co at the end.
And your posts are funny. They are funny.
Oh, thank you.
We saw the out of office, i.e. down the pub with somebody or something it said.
I know. My first official pub meeting, and it was a meeting. That's how I'm selling it anyway.
Thank you so much, and a final congratulations from us both, and thank you so much for being on the Suffolk Pod Show.
Thank you. And honestly, you guys are doing a great job as well. You've provided a huge platform for people, and it's really important, and I think it's great for businesses, particularly at the moment. Plus, I honestly would not be this happy and this jolly and brave enough if I hadn't started up Handy without the support of my dad, my mum, my brother, and my close friends Terry, Kate, Ali and Kelly. Their unwavering support, food and gym parcels, plus immense listening skills have just been absolutely everything. So, yeah, thank you to them.
They sound like lovely friends.
Oh, they are. They've been very good. Very good.
All right. We'll speak to you very soon. Take care.
Take care. Thank you. Bye-bye.
We have great pleasure in introducing Tony Murdock, founder and managing director of TR Global Events and a recently awarded fellow of the Institute of Hospitality. Welcome, Tony.
Thank you, Susanna. Lovely to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's lovely to have you too on this, as you've just said, bright and sunny morning.
Oh, glorious. Yeah.
And we deserve it. Tony, I'm hearing you're not originally from Suffolk.
How could you possibly guess?
I don't know.
Originally born in Lisburn, which is a small town just outside of Belfast.
Mm-hmm.
Spent many years there, right up until the age of 25 or 26, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sort of all my days, school years,
Mm-hmm.
working with and riding horses, various horse trials.
It's okay.
So.
And you were a good horseman, were you?
Average, I would say. I don't like to boast, but no, we had quite a few horses at home, and we sort of travelled the length and breadth of Ireland, competing at various different levels. Yeah, so it was good as a childhood. It gives you that focus, and I suppose keeps you off the streets at the weekends. You're so busy with the horses.
Absolutely. What are horse trials?
So horse trials are a combination of three events: dressage, cross country, and show jumping. So different skill sets needed for each one, sort of obedience and discipline of the dressage phase, and then sort of the control over the show jumping fences, and then a more flat out galloping speed endurance, I suppose, over the bigger fences around cross country. So yeah.
Quite very impressive. And do you still ride now?
No, goodness! I hung up my boots, I'd say, many years ago, and I don't think I'd have the same agility now to be able to do it.
You might surprise yourself. You never know.
Well, that's it. I know.
Somewhere in between all of this, you went to the University of Ulster, completed your degree in environmental sciences, and then decided you wanted to do something completely different.
Yeah, one of those things, I did my degree and I didn't feel my heart was in the environmental science going forward, and I'd sort of always fancied hotel work, funnily enough. And a lot of people would say I'd need my head read, but for me, the appeal of doing something different every day and not being stuck behind a desk was key, and I could never see myself doing 9 to 5, and hotels certainly are not 9 to 5. I left environmental science and went on and did a degree in hotel and catering management,
right,
part-time, while I started working in the local local pub to get some experience. Way back in the day, it was the Pheasant. I'm not even sure if it's still open now. But
I was going to ask you that. Is it still around? Yeah.
I have no idea. So yeah, and I spent my 2 years there whilst doing my degree, and then decided no, it was hotels I wanted to really be in, and I moved into the Stormont Hotel in Belfast, where I worked my way up to deputy GM all those years ago, and then did stints in Northern Ireland with Hilton, Crown Plaza, before eventually deciding the money would be better if I went to the mainland. And I spent 3 years up in Scotland working for McDonald Hotels as GM in their South Glasgow property.
Yeah.
And then, the weather brought us south. Couldn't stick the wet over the summer. And, at that time, we were a young family, so we wanted to be able to let them get out and have fun outside. And you certainly weren't able to do that with the weather in Scotland. So, I came down and worked with Letchworth Hall.
Lovely, yeah.
For about 3 years. And then in Quy Mill, Cambridgeshire, for 7 years as director and GM.
Yeah. I mean, and that's a wonderful hotel. And it's right in saying that you probably started or elevated your event skills that you have now when you worked at the Quy Mill. Yeah,
absolutely. So when we got there, it was 3 stars. So our first job was to get it up to the 4-star level. And we needed to attract the corporate market. So at that time, I was able to create a charity festival that we ran on the field they had. We put a marquee up and we ran it for 5 years in total, raising £107,000 for local charities. And that just really helped us bring in the corporate. It attracted the corporates to the hotel. Maybe wouldn't, because it was outside the city centre, maybe really hadn't crossed their radar before. Sort of put the hotel on the map. In terms of a good quality 4-star hotel, and then obviously the charity element, the Cambridge Roar, really helped that over the years.
Yeah. Now I've been watching you, and what's the Roar? Tell us a bit more about that exactly.
The Cambridge Roar was sort of a harebrained idea of mine, wanting to run sort of a charity festival of different events, and we did many different concepts of it. So I think the first year we did 5 events over 6 days, all completely different. So it would be a sporting dinner, a racing dinner. We did a champagne night, we did a business exhibition, 80s discos, all of those kind of things. So every event was completely different. Yeah. The second year we did 18 events over 23 days.
Wow.
And there was boxing and everything, it was absolutely insane. So and we built that up, and then our last year of it, we spread it out a wee bit just because there was quite a lot of pressure doing that amount over a short period of time. And then with the marquee, we thought, well, we're using it for charity, why not use it as a vehicle to drive corporate business into the hotel for the larger events. And Cambridge has a lot of large companies who do large Christmas parties, large conferences, but there isn't really a venue that can sort of seat up to 1,000 people. So we kept extending the marquee until we did.
That's a big marquee.
It was. So our last year there, we did a Christmas party for 1,000 people, and that was all seated, full choice Christmas dinner. Wow. So that was quite a challenge. And weddings, again, we were able to attract a lot of multicultural weddings to it. Able to cater for 800-900 people. So
Wow. When you're doing this, you must be thinking, I would love to be able to do this for myself.
Absolutely. And I think the drive for me was just, the sense of gratitude when people come and have a really good event and they thank you. So you get a buzz from it. Yeah. And yes, it may be extremely difficult to organise these events and tiring, and the hours you put into them are excessive. But it's that when the last guest is leaving and really had a good night. So I thought, absolutely, why not do it for myself? Over the last few years at Quy, the hotel was up for sale. I decided to set up my own events business on the side with the view of starting that whenever the sale went through.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I just thought if I don't do it now, I will never do it. So little did I know there's a pandemic 8 months down the line, but sure.
No, for sure. Who knew? Who knew?
That's it. No.
But your vision, I love your vision. It's quite simple.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are. There's no point in making it too complicated. We want TR Global to be truly global, and the go-to company for all things events. And we want to be the trusted people to create experiences, no matter where it is or what size it is. And it's all about, for me, creating a network of people that can help you deliver that. And we don't say we're experts at everything, but we certainly know somebody who is.
Yeah, of course.
And that's the way it is. So, very simple.
I mean, I know you just said you can do anything, but tell us a bit more specifically what you do.
So the pandemic sort of changed the events industry for the foreseeable future, I would imagine. So, there's an awful lot of new services coming on board with the new website we're creating at the moment. We were pre-pandemic focusing on the corporate market, but we're launching private events alongside the corporate events. So, so we can do large or small drive-in events, virtual, hybrid, and any in-person event you can possibly imagine. So it goes from Christmas parties, summer parties, conferences, exhibitions, weddings. We can do full event management, full production, staging, lighting, logistics, travel management, venue finding. The list is endless. And I don't think there's anything in an event that we can't do, and that's what we're trying to get the message across.
Did you manage to get some events going before the pandemic struck?
Yes, we had. The first 8 months, I suppose, were very strong. I suppose for a new start, and we're very pleased. So one of our biggest events that we did in the first 6 was a Christmas party for 2,500 people, all on one night.
Good grief. That's a big party. I don't think, yes. I mean, you could just see people all night you've never seen before. Party like that.
I know.
And where was that?
That was event field at the Holiday Inn in Cambridge. And we've got a large flat field. So there was a large marquee village set up to house all of that. And the logistics of getting that organised was quite incredible. And each marquee, I think we had 6 large marquees. So each marquee was themed completely differently. And we worked with the client to come up with a theme. So we had different music in each one, so different band or disco, entertainment, different acts, all going on throughout the evening. And then obviously styling the food to match the concepts.
Yeah.
So quite an undertaking. But that was probably one of the most enjoyable ones, apart from the weather. It was absolutely teeming it down the night of it. But I know. Well, that's it.
It's almost like a mini festival party
because
you've got so many different experiences. Those lucky people, whoever which company that was, I would love to go to a party like that.
It was I should say a festival, because you've obviously to bring in the toilets, the kitchens,
of course,
and you've got all the pathways to put in, and the health and safety and everything that goes along with that. So it's something. I think once you go up to that size, then it pretty much would be a mini festival.
Gosh. But you do smaller events too. I mean, if I wanted something, something more personable, 30, 40 people, you can do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the smaller team meetings, re-engagement meetings, or activities, team building. So we can do anything for any size. Just because everybody always focuses on a large event, we put the same level of attention into any size at all. So it could be a board meeting for 10. It could be anything really. Yeah.
And we're
not fussy.
Do you work with private clients too?
Yes, so this is the new thing we're launching with the website at the end of the month. So we can do private garden parties. And we just thought, because people have been locked in for so long, that this summer people will hopefully want to have a family event that we can cater for, because everybody missed out on Christmas. So we can organise a family barbecue or weddings. We can do anything at all. Anything.
It's going to be tough, isn't it? Going back to the corporate market, returning after the pandemic. And there's going to be a need, and I especially hope there is for you guys, for getting people back together as well, and refamiliarising with each other again, and reconnecting as colleagues and associates within a business. What do you think? The team building and stuff, you were mentioning that before.
Yeah, I think, the corporate market is cautious optimism at the moment would be the word for it. People are making sort of tentative inquiries, but really don't want to commit to anything until we see all the 5-week breaks or the dates that the government have set out. Until we achieve each one of those, I think the confidence will grow more and more. And once we see pilot events happening more consistently, I think that will help. But for me, one of the biggest things will be the re-engagement of teams and people who haven't seen each other for well over a year in some cases. Will be key, and whether that be a residential with team building and a dinner, or a sort of a mini conference from the CEO who hasn't maybe seen his team, who want to re-engage and redirect them as to where the company is. So there's an awful lot around that I think will happen first before we get to sort of the Christmas kind of parties or the annual get-togethers and conferences that companies would have maybe done before that. And I think, unfortunately, it might be 2022 before we actually see things returning to any kind of normal for the events. But there's definitely stuff to be picked up in between that, but not what it was pre-pandemic, unfortunately.
Yeah. Gosh, there's so many people in this position. It's frightening. Talking to someone the other day, we collaborate, we work as teams with people. It seems to help and support each other. How do you actually work with companies then? You mentioned a very important thing. Collaboration, I think, is key for events and hospitality industries, which we've been hit probably the hardest out of anybody. And it is the collaboration and partnerships that are going to help get us all out of this. Once furlough starts, the percentages that employers have to pay increase, and then it stops eventually. We are going to have to support each other in terms of working with each other to make sure that we all gain business and gain contracts. And yes, whilst you'd previously like to have done that on your own, we will need the help and support of people. So in terms of our partnerships, we were setting out and launching some new key partnerships for us at the end of the month. And these are people that are giving us best rates that you can't get anywhere else, so that we can use their expertise, and it's not going to cost the client any more than if they were able to book all the individual items themselves. Super.
So really for the client, it's one call to us, and we can do absolutely everything, and then it's easier for their accounting processes. It's easier for them to manage one company as opposed to a whole pile of different companies that they're doing themselves.
Of course. I mean, that is the benefit of complete and utter of using your full management service. But you also do venue outsourcing consultancy too. Yeah.
So again, I keep saying everything's new, but this is what we've been working on over the last few months. And so the outsourcing is to help companies or venues with short, medium and long-term contracts, because a lot of people have obviously been unfortunately made redundant, and companies and venues may not have the money or the cash flow coming in to be able to re-employ people. So we can step in with our expertise and our network of people and run various things for them. We can do their end-to-end event management. We can do sales and marketing projects, operational tactical planning, digital marketing. So we can cover everything for them. And it's a very cost-effective way to get a ready-made team just to step in and get the job done for them. So, and TR Global, we've got a wide range of people with us, and we've got many years of experience, and it just felt right that we put our experience to use. And whether it's we've all got a hospitality background in my team, and we can step into a venue and help organize and run events for them because of our hundreds of years of experience.
Yeah, hundreds. Well, it is when you put all, because there's a few of you in your team, and when you add them all up, it does come to hundreds. It always does.
No, it does. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You've also won an award, I see.
Yes, we have. We very lucky to achieved Event Management Company of the Year with the Lux Global Hospitality Awards early this year. So we're delighted, at such an early stage in our lifespan as a company, to have the recognition from the judging panel and sort of everything we offer and what we've done in the very short time that we've been able to do it.
No, congratulations, and so well deserved.
Thank you.
No, brilliant.
Thank you.
And furthermore, you are a fellow, or tell us a bit more about that fellowship. What does that mean?
Yeah, so Fellowship of the Institute of Hospitality, which is a global institute that has members right across the world. And to be a fellow, you obviously had to do a qualification, which I did way back when I was at university, and then have continuous development through the institute in my lifespan. And it's nice to be recognised for continuously develop and promote benefits of continuously improving and educating yourself through hospitality in your career. So instead of just doing a degree and then that's it, the institute encourage everybody to keep learning, and I think that's the key: keep learning and keep adapting. So yeah, delighted to get that.
Yeah. Well done. Well,
thank you.
Absolutely awesome. How do people get in touch with you, Tony?
Okay, so on our website, trglobalevents.com, via my LinkedIn or the company LinkedIn pages, Facebook and Instagram. Yeah, we're on it all. Yeah, just TR Global Events.
Yeah, go find them. Well, thank you so much for talking to us. I think everyone listening will be holding their breath and crossing their fingers for you this year. My goodness, you deserve it.
Thank you very much, Susanna. Thank you. And just one thing before we finish, I'd love to give a shout out to my fantastic team of Kelly, Caris and Catherine, who very strong ladies who have kept me on track and stuck with me with my harebrained ideas. And yeah, hopefully they're listening. They're truly awesome. So yeah, I couldn't do this without them all.
Well, thank you to the 3 Ks, I think there.
That's it.
Thanks, Tony, and we'll speak again soon.
Thank you very much, Susanna. Thank you.
I'm talking to Lorna Rayner, founder of Nesh Home Staging and Interiors. A warm welcome, Lorna. Lovely to have you on the Suffolk Pod Show.
Thank you for having me. I'm really excited to be here.
Well, it's we've talked a little in the past, haven't we? And the first thing that came into my mind is Nesh, your company name. That's really unusual.
Yes, well, I wanted to find a name that would convey the feeling of home in one simple word, and obviously one that hadn't been used before. And Nesh is slang for fear of the cold. And let me just create a little scenario for you. So have you ever walked into a home and felt that it was cold, damp, uninviting, and generally just a bit depressing? And I think this happens a lot when we are viewing properties to rent or buy. And you probably feel a lot better once you've left that space, whether that's a conscious thing or subconscious. At Nesh, I effectively have a fear of the cold, and I want your home to feel warm and inviting and ultimately somewhere you and others want to live. And when I think of Nesh, I think of a cosy lounge with a roaring fire. And that's the image I want to get across to people.
You have already, Lorna. It's brilliant. I'm already sitting there with the fire, with my feet in the fire. Tell us a bit about you and what led you up to the moment you founded Nesh.
Well, I think when I was young and as I was growing up, I always loved being creative, decorating my bedroom and things like that. And I knew when I grew up, I wanted to do something where I could express this. But I think I always struggled to sort of know, which job to pick or which path to follow. So I spent a lot of my teens and early 20s doing ski seasons in Europe, and I loved the lifestyle, but I always looked forward to coming home to a nice, tidy house and a well-stocked fridge. And I think bizarrely, this is a sort of feeling that has always stayed with me. And, as I've gone through the years and bought my own home and had a family, I've always thought of your home as like a sanctuary and somewhere where you want to spend time and feel happy. So after I had my third and final child, I really started to think seriously about my career. I knew I still wanted a career, but I wanted to do something that I enjoyed and that motivated me. So rather than making a sensible career choice and deciding to become an accountant or a nurse, I thought I'll completely indulge myself and go down the interior design route. And so to coincide with this of child number 3 being born, I won a competition to live in a concept eco home for a year with no bills or rent to pay. And this was like a really sort of important moment for me because it wasn't just a house, it was a show home designed for me and my family to live in specifically for us.
That's amazing. That's incredible.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And it was so unheard of. Everyone was like, what? How did that happen? And it was incredible. And I just will never forget that moment of first stepping into this incredible home. It was just so beautiful. It was like a breath of fresh air. And I just couldn't believe that we were going to be able to live there for a year. And I think for me, it was a stark contrast from our very brown 1960s bungalow where we were renting at the time. And whilst living there, I spent a lot of time looking at the design and how the colours were put together and the way each space linked to the whole house linked together, but it also worked as individual rooms. And I started to think how the people would have pieced it together from, the artwork they chose to the accessories they used. And it wasn't ultimately, although the look was amazing, it wasn't just about the look. It was the way it made you feel. It, you just felt happy, calm. Everyone that came round was just in awe of this house. That was going on. And I was thinking about my career, and I really felt like I wanted to recreate that for people. So after the eco home, I went back to college and I did some painting courses, and I studied interior design because ultimately I wanted to reawaken my creativity and also explore what I wanted to do. And I kind of knew that was the tip of the iceberg. So I began to look for work experience in the industry, and I managed to land some work with an interior design company called K3, who are based in Ely. And most of their work, incidentally, was on show homes. So I started to help them to install show homes. Like, first of all, it was like ironing bed linen, putting the accessories out, and unpacking boxes, all the basic stuff. And, as I continued to work for them, I got more involved in the design process and planning and creating these amazing spaces. And in fact, I still work with K3 now, and they were the people who suggested exploring home staging for lived-in properties. So I didn't ever start sort of thinking about home staging. I sort of started on the interior design journey. I really realised the benefit of improving the look of your home to attract buyers, but also, so that you enjoyed being there as well. In 2019, the third child was off to school, and that's when I set up Nesh Home Staging and Interiors.
Can you describe the heart of Nesh? I mean, it's quite obvious by the person that you are, but what's important to you?
So I think what's important to me is that we should all be able to benefit from interior design, making the most of the spaces that we live in and want to live in. So I think our homes should be our sanctuary and where we should enjoy spending time. And then on the interior design side of things, I want to help people to make the most of those spaces they have, creating happy and positive places to live. And for those who are wishing to sell, I want to help them to visually demonstrate their home's best bits to buyers so that they're able to sell quickly and at the right price. And I think often these two things are so achievable with a fresh perspective and some creative thinking.
No, quite. But home staging is becoming more and more popular. I mean, it's commonplace in many countries around the world. Not quite as commonplace here, but thank you to you, Lorna, you started doing it. Would it be right in saying that it's proven to actually increase the likelihood of selling your house at the price you want?
Yeah. So, I mean, firstly, let me tell you a bit more about what home staging is. And you're right, it is still so unknown in the UK. A lot of people who I talked to about it were like, oh, I didn't even know that existed. But basically, it's the process of preparing your home for sale. So making your home appeal to the highest number of buyers, therefore selling your property quickly and for the highest price. In answer to your question, yes, like the results are proven. It does help to sell your house quicker and for a better amount of money. In fact, I had a client whose home was on the market for 2 years with 6 different estate agents, and they'd received no offers.
You're joking.
No offers. And, by the time they contacted me, they were so desperate. They were on their knees. They just did not know what to do. So I went and I visited the property and met them. And I think what surprised me was their house was very clean and tidy. beautiful gardens in a cul-de-sac. You know, there were so many plus points, but the main problem was that the interior was dated. And I think that's what was putting a lot of people off. And my clients, they said, we know we need to make changes, but we just don't know where to focus our attention or our budget. And that's where I come in and, you know, help guide them to those areas. In that property, there was a lot of dark wood. It was fine, but we freshened it up, painted it white. That was skirting boards, doors and door frames throughout. It just completely lifted the feel from the moment that you walked in the door. Then we moved on to the kitchen, which was perfectly functional and fortunately quite good quality. So what we were able to do was reinvent it by having it painted cream, changing the accessories and window dressings, and it looked like a new room. In the bathrooms, we switched gold fittings for silver, and throughout the house, we just gave each space a purpose, a defined function, and we used artwork and rugs and accessories just to aid this. There was a spot of decluttering that we did, and ultimately, I mean, when I went back to visit them once all the work had been done, they said, we feel like we're living in a new home, and they had big... Yeah. And they had big smiles on their faces and you could just see they're really happy. And ultimately, the really good news is that they did sell their house and they're now enjoying their retirement on the Norfolk coast. And it's so lovely because they've kept in touch from when I finished the work to now, where they're, you know, now happily living in Norfolk. They've told me, you know, about their journey, and I'm so pleased that I've been able to help them get to where they are now.
Fantastic. It's so lovely. Must be terribly rewarding when that happens.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I really love is like I get to work with real people and I get to help them make positive changes. And, you know, there's nothing better than sort of seeing the look on someone's face when they're really happy with what you've done and it's exactly what they wanted. So, yeah, that's great.
What a great project. What if you could pick and choose your projects, what are your favourite?
It is working with real people in real homes and just getting to know my clients and helping them to make their next step. So like often a house move coincides with life changes, and it's so interesting to hear people's stories and to help them make those positive changes. And the same goes with interior design work as well. When you're helping someone reimagine their current space and just seeing how happy and excited they are with the transformation, it's like I'm going on a journey with them, and that's why I love what I do.
It's very stressful selling a house, and, you know, buyers are fairly temperamental, particularly in the market at the moment. But knowing that you've done your very best, having someone like you in there, it's going to push out some of those problems that happen because it's a much easier and quicker decision for the buyer.
Exactly. And I think, you know, often we expect, you know, we decide to sell our house, we go and see an estate agent, they put it on the market, and then you sit back happily waiting for viewings. And when those viewings don't come or the offers are not what you expected, it turns what was going to be a positive step into a really negative one, and it becomes so stressful. And you know, I don't think it's uncommon for houses to hang around on the market for 1 year, maybe even 2 years. And often people will just give up. They'll take the house off the market. But I think the problem with that is their desire or reasons for moving don't go away. And it's like a cloud hanging over your head until you manage to do something about it.
I was going to say, you don't just work with people who are selling their properties. I mean, if I wanted to transform a room in a house that I'm very happy in, you would do that too?
Yeah, so I do interior design projects as well. So recently I've helped a family recreate a living room and kitchen. So before the project began, they found that they spent all their time in the kitchen. That was their sociable space. And their perfectly functional living room was just empty because they just didn't feel comfortable and relaxed in there. We reinvented the 2 rooms and we made the lounge exactly, you know, the kind of space that they wanted to be in. So they liked entertaining in the evenings. So, you know, we made sure that there was room for them to socialise with their guests, but also for the kids to go and watch TV and relax at the end of the day and generally just, you know, sort of enjoy the room. And it worked really well. It was a really lovely project.
Tell me more about accessories, because you offer services in all sorts of ways in that field.
Again, moving back to sort of the more home staging side of things, I offer accessory rental. And the great thing about accessories is it's a really quick and easy way to transform a space and add wow factor to your home. So I have a collection of accessories and artwork and soft furnishings that I use to restyle spaces. Whether you want your home to look great in the estate agent photographs, or whether it's an unoccupied space and you just want to make it look more lived in, then they really help to transform a property. And I think often you think, well, I could just go and buy them. But actually, you know, spending money on cushions and throws and artwork, it really does add up. So having a pack already there that you can just add to your space and that can be removed afterwards just makes it a really simple, cost-effective way of improving the look of it.
So clever. And yeah, you don't want to spend anything more. You're leaving that house and you don't know what you want for the next. So renting accessories is a perfect idea. How clever.
Yes, yeah. And it also saves you a lot of trawling around shops and the internet, because I do that bit for you and just deliver it to you.
I see also on your website you offer something called Made to Measure. What's that?
So Made to Measure is a new service that I'm doing, and basically I can supply you with bespoke made curtains, blinds and soft furnishings. I have a very good working relationship with a local curtain maker who's also based in Newmarket, and I also can supply fabrics too. So I've chosen to work with independent fabric designers who are based in the UK. And not only do I think this is a great way of supporting other local small businesses, but it also means that I can offer an alternative to what's on the high street. So if you want your home to stand out and to be different, or perhaps you just can't find exactly what you're looking for, then these smaller brands, they have a whole wealth of knowledge and collections that are bound to find something that you love.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny, actually, I was just thinking about what you do. You not only help people sell their houses and landlords rent their properties too, because you work with a couple of landlords, I suspect.
I work with landlords who are trying to rent out their properties. I work with property developers who may have developments and, you know, want to stage one and make it more appealing and attractive. And it's really hard to express in words that feeling of that transformation to, you know, when you turn up in the morning and it's just an empty room, to when you leave and it's a lovely made bedroom. And, you know, even though I'm quite used to seeing that transformation, the feeling is just so nice, it's so positive. You suddenly go from thinking, oh, it's, you know, it's just another room, to, oh, this bedroom is amazing. You know, I really want my bedroom to be like this.
Lorna, you are the ultimate home maker. I can't think of a better way of describing it, but your services sound absolutely incredible. How do we find you? How do people get in touch with you?
So you can have a look at my website, which is www.nesh, which is Nesh, interiors.co.uk. I'm also on Instagram at Nesh Home Staging. And yeah, I think they're my email address is Lorna at neshinteriors.co.uk. So you can contact me any of those ways, and I would love to have a chat with you about your properties and your projects.
Thank you, Lorna. That's amazing. I've already said it, but home staging has to start happening for many people. So get in touch with her. And thank you so much for being with us.
Oh, no, thank you for having me. I love your podcast. I love podcasts in general. So, and this is my first time actually speaking on one. So it's rather exciting.
Well, you've done brilliantly. Thank you. Is there anyone else you want to say a thank you to?
Yeah, so I'd really like to say thank you to K3 Interiors, who have really, you know, helped me grow my business and teach me all about the world of interiors. So I'm really appreciative to them, and also to my family for being really patient with me while my business grows and being really supportive. So
what would we do without them? Okay, Lorna, have a great day and thank you very much.
You too. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Next up is James Scott, owner and manager of 9 Deli in Southwold. Welcome, James.
good afternoon to you.
Lovely to have you with us here on the Suffolk Pod Show. Thank you very much for joining us. James, your story...
Lovely to be here.
Oh, thank you. Your story is really interesting because you've done an awful lot of things. Do you want to start from the beginning, what you first did, perhaps after you left school, and to where you are today?
I left home at 16 and went to London and ended up a little bit off the rails, ended up homeless for a while, and then it took me a while to get my act together again. But I've been in and out of catering and kind of different stuff almost since leaving school. Mm-hmm. Left school, did a few catering jobs here and there. Then I had a spell in the army for a while, went off and did some army stuff. Came back to the UK for a very short while after leaving the army. I stayed in Germany for another 3 or 4 years after I was there, and then came back to the UK for a short spell, and then went out to Sarajevo when the war was on out there and worked out there for a good few years. Wow, doing what? Then, I was working with the S4, I4 troops all on the compounds in the middle of Sarajevo, in the middle of a war zone. So it was a good experience. I bet. Unnerving as well at times. Yeah, but I've got nerves of steel. You got to have, because I make coffee. So, got to have nerves of steel. If you get that wrong, you'll get a kick in the head from the customers. Well, okay, so danger work is your thing. So after doing that, where did you go after Sarajevo? Again, I came back to the UK for a short spell, and then went back out, hopped on a plane and went to Thessaloniki in Greece, and made my way out to Pristina, where it was all kicking off there with the Serbs that were getting kind of... Albanian Serbs that were getting kind of like some grief up there, and that's when it all kicked off in Montenegro. I don't know if you remember that, and there was all the stuff in Mostar and everything else, and I just ended up working in a couple of refugee camps. Right. We were taking people out from Pristina to Macedonia, and I worked in some huge refugee camps with people there, sort of like doing various bits and pieces and jobs in the refugee camp, as you would do. And from there, James, is it more recently then that you've only just gone into running your own business, or? No, I've been working for myself on and off since about 2000. So I've had various different catering ventures, from sandwich rounds to sort of like little takeaway places, and then I moved to Southwold 4 years ago to open my first business in Southwold, and I had a restaurant here, and it was called Prandium. And then last year, when the pandemic kind of kicked in, I was about to move the whole restaurant to Alton Broad, but things just didn't pan out because of the pandemic, and I kind of took a couple of months out and just sat on my hands and didn't really know what I was going to do with myself. But I enjoyed running the restaurant, so I took some time out, went out for a few bike rides. I weighed 19 stone at the time, so I went out and got my life together and went out doing about 80 miles a day on the bike and lost a few pounds, and just had some time out, because I'd had no time out really when I ran Prandium. So I just took the time out, and then this place was empty, and decided, right, I'm going to have a coffee shop, because you can still do takeaway stuff in the pandemic, and decided to do a coffee / gift shop. So we've got a coffee shop and gift shop here, which is, that's where I'm at the moment. And it's called Nine Deli, and it's going okay. Good. I mean, tough opening right in the middle of a pandemic. Yeah, probably not advisable. I mean, I took the keys in June, spent a while doing it up. We opened on the 1st of August. And hit the ground running, really busy. August was fantastic. September was good. October, it fell away a bit, because then we started going into the tier 3, tier 2, tears in your eyes. Yep. And then we sort of then just shut down. Christmas, that was it, just shut down. But I've been here all the time, pushing out my coffee and kind of just paying my rent, which is quite high in Southwold. But I think if I can get through this winter, I can get through any winter. Nothing's going to kill me off. If COVID hasn't got me, and the customers are still coming in. So, and it has been a lot of local support. So I'd like to thank my locals, because I know it was mainly locals that were supporting me, and I'm glad of their input, and I hope they'll continue to see me thrive. Yeah, I'm sure they will. I think there's been a lot more focus
to very local businesses when you are local? You know, so often one would overlook something that was on your doorstep to travel to go to something that you thought was a great experience, but actually it's quality right on our doorsteps everywhere.
Yeah, and I think the pandemic has brought home to everybody that, because before the pandemic, the high streets all over the country, I noticed, seem to be in decline, and a lot of them are still boarded up, and kind of people are not shopping on their high streets because of Amazon and because of, you know, whole loads of other stuff, the click and collect, the online shops, the, you know, the high rents, the rates, all the rest of it. And it was a recipe for high streets taking a big nosedive. But this pandemic, in a way, I think has focused people to think, you know, if we don't use what we've got sitting right on our doorstep, we'll have nothing. So let's go out and shop small, shop local. We can still get the stuff that we need, you know, it can't be bothered to wait for or whatever online, but let's do a few more things local. And I think, you know, that's, and especially now with staycations this year, you know, nobody's going anywhere, so that I think the shops will be well supported.
Yeah, and good to hear it too. I think,
Here.
I mean, I don't mean to echo you, but the tremendous support between local businesses in Suffolk has really choked us, actually. It's been quite incredible.
I can't fault my customers for, you know, their input, and long may it, you know, go on.
Yes, please may
And I think my other half, Lisa, is a positive influence on me, because I can be, you know, I can go a bit off at tangents, and she's coming to join me, and she's gonna rein me in, because not everyone gets my humour, not everyone gets me, but hopefully, you know, those that have shied away from me before can come into my lair and be enticed by my nonsense. And yeah,
I think it sounds wonderful. Well. So, James, let's talk about Nine Deli itself. What do we expect when we walk in through your door?
Well, first of all, the first thing that will hit you straight between the eyes is the bright Mexican orange, because I wanted something that was going to be vibrant and punchy, because it's a tiny little building. And the other thing is, when you walk down the street, you'll see that the building is festooned with flags. So it looks like a Tibetan monastery. It's got all these like loads of like colourful flags and windmills and stuff. Yeah. I just wanted, because of the year that everyone's had, and it's been a bit, you know, rubbish, I just wanted something that was going to lift everyone's spirits and make everyone feel like happy and vibrant. And also, because we're in the middle of Pinckney's Lane, which is a tiny little street in Southwold, it's kind of tucked away. So if I don't bring a lot of colour and joy into the street, then people would just pass it by and think there's nothing down there. What's the reason to go there? So I'll try and make as much noise with my hanging baskets, and I've just planted some petunias today that are going to look stunning when they get going. Yeah. And it'll just be, you know, it'll drag people in. And I'm pretty prolific on social media, so I get out there and I keep pushing the business, driving it forward, and I'm sure I irritate a few people, but, you know, it's my livelihood at the end of the day.
Sounds amazing. Sounds great. What can I get from your shop then? If I come in, obviously some great coffee.
Yeah, no, you can get our Cafe Fado, which is supplied to us by a local firm in Halesworth. It's a Portuguese blend that we've got, and we've had it specifically blended for us. Me and Lisa went on a 3.5 hour tasting, and we tasted probably about 30 different coffees, matcha teas, smoothies. My bladder felt like it was the size of Wembley Stadium. But do you know what? The guys there are spot on. They know their business, and we came up with a blend that suited us. Because I'm not really a coffee lover, but my other half is. And it was the coffee that we both decided should taste like coffee if we were going to taste one for the first time. And it's really nice. It's really smooth, easy drinking coffee. But we sell other stuff as well. We've got Nine Deli teas. We've got Brazilian coffee. We've got Ethiopian coffee. You can join our coffee club, and we'll send you coffee in the post. I've embraced coffee now, because at my last place, I used to allegedly sell the worst coffee in Southwold, because that was my strap line when I had my other place. So I deliberately sold instant coffee and wouldn't go near coffee. So now I'm turning that round, and I'm selling hopefully the best coffee in Southwold. We've got a lot of good feedback from the coffee. Yeah. And, sounds delicious. You know, long may it continue. Yeah, as bespoke as well. I love that. I love to try new blends as well. And do you know what? I'm not sure I've ever had Portuguese coffee before. Well, it's a Portuguese blend, so I don't know. I'm not a coffee expert by any long shot, any stretch of the imagination, but it tastes nice, and that's all I know. And then my other half does lots of baking. So we do things like Bailey's cheesecakes. We just make. We're not, neither of us are trained cooks or chefs. So we just do what we think is right. And if people like it and get on board with it, we did before Christmas. We were doing lots of cheesecakes, orange Cointreau with, chocolate orange mint cheesecakes. I do as well in the summer lots of fish. So I do fish platters, crab platters,
That's
lobsters.
right, yes.
If you look on our Instagram, you can see all the pics.
Now,
and this year I'm going to.
Can you eat those in your deli, or do you have to go outside and eat?
No, we've got no seating in here, but
right.
No, you can take it to the beach, and we do it for beaches or holiday lets. You can kind of ring us up and say we'd like this, and we do a wide variety of stuff. We do pizzas. We do you wouldn't think from walking in that it's just like a coffee shop, but we do lots of box salads. We do lots of healthy stuff.
Yes,
we're not going to go down the route of fish and chips or all the others, because there's loads of that in Southwold. You can get that everywhere. And we do a few vegan bits, a few vegetarian bits. We try and tick as many boxes as we can, but on the same thing, we turn around and say, look, we're not a fast food takeaway. If you can't be bothered to wait, there's the door. Not being impolite or anything. There's the door. Go down the road phone Just Eat or Deliveroo or something like that, because we're not that kind. But if you give us a chance, we'll provide something pretty stunning and at a reasonable price for Southwold as well. Yeah, it's a supply and demand, and we can't feed everybody, and we're not professing that we can. So we just get on with what we do. Yeah. Hopefully, we'll do it well, and people will come back and they'll enjoy it. Hopefully.
I've seen the photos, that dressed chroma crab salad, which you can order in advance and then obviously take to your beach hut the next day. I mean, what could be more lovely than sitting on that wonderful beach and eating something as gorgeous as that? That's pretty local as well, I guess.
Well, yeah, Chroma's only just up the road, and if it's in season, we'll get it. And this year we're also starting cocktails that you can take to the beach. Yeah. So we're going to do our own. It's not going to be, because we don't want to be hit with the old people that come in and go, I'll have a Manhattan, young man, or I'll have this, because we don't know how to make cocktails either. So we're just going to make cocktails and we're going to call them our own thing. We got a lighthouse up here, a seagull, and we're just going to,
Lovely. That's brilliant.
So that you won't find them on any cocktail list anywhere else in the world. It'll just be, but it should get you a little bit merry at least, anyway.
Now, as well as doing all of this, just the two of you, I think you do outside catering as well. If someone wanted a buffet or some food for an occasion.
It's like I say to my customers, it's horses for courses. If you ring me up with 10 minutes notice, you're going to get no thanks. But if you give me enough notice and we've got time, we will do it. I mean, for the Sol Bay health team, which I've got to thank, by the way, because they've been doing all the vaccines and everything for everybody around here. And I've been jabbed twice now. We were doing sort of like free lunches, and a couple of local businesses also contributed some money. There was Durrance gave us some money, and the Raiden Society gave us some money. And through the first part of the vaccinations, when people didn't really know what was what, and there was lots of volunteers up there, we were just running up there with like packed lunches and kind of doing like dropping off catering things of coffee and fruit juices and stuff, just to dish out to the volunteers as and when, because there was like 2 shifts a day. So we weren't doing it every day, because I haven't got, I'm not a multi-millionaire, but I was just doing it to what money I'd got spare to just
lovely.
And people contributed, and it all went well, and it's kind of got our name out there a little bit as well. So
I have to say, your Instagram page is brilliant. I love all your little mini boomerangs and videos and pictures of. Well, I could look at pictures of food all day.
Well, I actually love photography,
right?
But
okay,
I've not had much time. If you scroll right through Instagram, you'll see there's actually some really nice photographs of sunsets and stuff in between. But obviously, because of the situation at the moment, I've been here every day. I've not really had a day off since Christmas. I think I've had one day off, but I've got to be here to hit the daily target to pay the rent, because that's what I've got to do. Yeah. But hopefully, when more customers start coming into town, I'll be able to get a little bit of freedom. And now the nights are getting lighter, and get out and just not work all the time. Just
everybody.
I did enough of that at Brandon.
Oh yeah,
I did. I used to do from 7 in the morning till like sometimes 1 in the morning, 7 days a week, non-stop.
Very
But
unhealthy.
this is much nicer because I can just shut the doors at 6 or 7 o'clock or whatever time I feel like it and just go home.
Yeah. And have some much needed rest. James, thank you so much for joining us. It's really interesting talking to you, and I think you've got a load of very interesting stories to tell. So go and see him at 9 Delhi and get him talking.
Because some of them are not repeatable on the air, so we can't divulge all of those. So have people running away in shock.
What's your web address?
The website is just all the W's. .9delhi.co.uk. So that's 9 as in NINEDELI.co.uk.
Lovely. Thank you very much.
And the online shop is coming together as well. There's a lot more stuff to go on the online shop, but haven't had enough hours in the day.
No.
But now we've got internet and everything at the shop, we should be able to start loading up some pictures of stuff we've got for sale on there as well.
Well, thank you, James. Thank you very much. Take care. And as soon as we can, we'll be up there and we'll come and have a cup of Café Faldo. I'm looking forward to that.
I will look forward to seeing you and Mark. You're welcome anytime.
Thanks, James. Bye-bye.
All right, no worries.
We're really pleased to introduce Harriet Lawton, manager of Suffolk Plant Centre, which is in Pettistry near Woodbridge. Welcome, Harriet.
Hi, Susanna. It's lovely to be here. Thank you.
Well, it's lovely to have you with us. I've talked to you in quite a lot of depth about plants, but when did you first realise that you had such a passion for them?
Well, I suppose my parents have had a huge influence. I grew up on family farm, which is now in its third generation. So they grow wheat, barley, oilseed rape and peas. And my mum is a very sort of growing sort of person. She has a veg patch and she always encouraged us to look at plants when we were small. And my dad has some very impressive geraniums that he keeps for years and years, and they always look incredible. So, that sort of influence has been with me for the whole of my life. So just ever since I can remember, I've been fascinated by plants. And so, being on the farm, I've always been outside and been around plants and growing. Yeah.
I love the story about how you got into working at the plant centre again. But so you had we could call it a sort of a horticultural background, but did you study that?
After school, I went to work in a jewellery shop, which was an amazing retail experience, gave me a huge amount of confidence at sort of 17. So that was really, really good. But I was really keen to get working outside. Obviously had that love of plants. So I enrolled on an apprenticeship with Otley College in production horticulture, which meant I could work on the nursery and gain knowledge of all sort of aspects of plant production. And it covered everything from taking cuttings, propagating, plant classification, forklift driving and health and safety. So, it gave me a really broad idea of this whole industry. And then I worked on the nursery for 10 years. And then I had a break to have my 2 children. And then in May 2016, I was just driving past the nursery and noticed that the plant centre was being constructed. So I pulled in at the last minute to ask if there were any jobs available, just sort of screeched to a halt. And yes, there were. They were looking for staff to sort of look after the plant centre. So I started in the plant centre, and since then it's just sort of gone from strength to strength. So I now run the plant centre, and it's been really amazing sort of journey, really.
Yeah, I mean that split second of making that decision has really rolled out your entire career now. It's amazing how that happens.
Yes, so it's sort of. It was sort of as if it was meant to be, and it's just sort of it's such a boost, and it sort of just feels like I'm sort of on an upward trend, and we're really lucky to have such a good, fun and vibrant team, and actually to progress with something that I trained in, so I'm able to put my plant knowledge to good use, advising customers on plant design and sort of which plants are suitable for various aspects. And the plant centre is such a unique place. It is, we're quite rustic. We haven't got a cafe or any sort of scented candles or anything. It's just about the plants. Yeah. So it's all laid out quite a rustic way. Yeah. But people love it because it's, they arrive for the first time and they're completely wowed by this sort of mass of colour. and sort of lush plants. And it makes me feel very proud.
Yeah.
Because many of the customers have sort of come back weekly all year round. So we get to know them really, really well. It's just great. It's a lovely, lovely place to work.
Sounds it. I've never been, and I really should go. I think it's probably because we're in North Suffolk and we haven't ventured. Well, we haven't been able to venture, have we, for at least a year,
No.
much further than about 10 minutes drive. But at the Suffolk Plant Centre, you have got such a huge range, as you said, of shrubs, perennials, roses, bedding plants. I mean, I don't know, I could go on, but you grow most of them yourselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
So the nursery where the plant centre is based has 2 huge glass houses where all of our little perennials are grown. So foxgloves and lupins and delphiniums. And then there's a further 60 acres, which is where the roses and shrubs are also grown. And then the bedding plants as well. They're all homegrown. So, and I think it's really important to promote the locally grown plants because it means that we're supporting British and local growers. It sort of reduces all the traffic on the roads, and the plants are fresh and in plentiful supply. But it also supports the local economy. You know, it gives jobs to local people, and it's just sort of a bit more sustainable in a way. Even though it's quite a big site, it just means that we have got a bit more of a personal sort of, you know, the plants are a bit more personal to us.
Yeah. Well,
although we're not actually growing them, but it's you know, it comes from the same place.
Does it make a difference if you buy a plant that's grown, let's say, in local surroundings, be it local compost or just the general soil? Does that make a difference? And if I buy a plant from you and then go and plant it in my own local garden?
Probably not a huge amount of difference. I suppose the only way it would affect it is if it's sort of forced grown in a greenhouse from miles away and then transported in a chilled lorry, and then you put it in your garden, it might not like it much. So the fact that the plants haven't been in a chilled lorry,
of course,
means that means that they're a bit tougher and haven't had that stress. So it probably will help, that they haven't travelled quite so far.
Yeah, no, quite. I was just thinking about that. And I was thinking also, you've got all of those plants that you're talking about, but you also specialise in particular plants as well, Mediterranean, for example.
Yeah, so we're really lucky to have a sort of connection to Italy. So we get amazing palm trees and olive trees and lots of sort of quite exotic plants, things like bottle brush and lovely topiary. So no, it's really good. So we can, not only have the small perennials and bedding plants, we can also provide really amazing specimen plants.
How lovely.
A lady came in this morning wanting plants for her swimming pool and wanted something really sort of immediate effect. And so she was looking at the palms. Yeah. So that was really rewarding.
Yeah, no, I can imagine, and that's what they're there for. I mean, and also there are different styles of gardens. I'm just thinking off the top of my head now. So there's the Mediterranean, beautiful Southern European rustic look, I suppose. There's cottage gardens, and how about Japanese?
Japanese, yes. So we've got some lovely aces. People are creating as a Japanese Zen garden. They're lovely with all the different colours, and even this is the little cloud pruned conifers. They're really interesting and good for Japanese gardens because you can keep them quite, that sort of bonsai effect and keep them, it's very mindful to sit there and trim your topiary.
I bet. I had a bonsai once and
how did that go?
I overcut it. If that's possible. I think because they take years to grow. They're not just something that are that size and they've been growing for a year. They've been loved and cared for many years to look as pretty and mini as that is. And now I just overcut it.
So did you pollard it then? You just
pretty
took the
much.
top off.
It remained a stick for quite a while, and then eventually I think I moved house and left it behind. Anyway, we move on. I'm not an expert by any means. So I was going to ask, what are the sort of current trends for gardens and gardeners at the moment?
Well, recently it's been very interesting because of the coronavirus pandemic. So there's lots and lots of new gardeners, which means there's lots of new trends come in. So people with small spaces have been looking into creating designs for their balconies or their sort of very small sort of town gardens, which is really interesting because it means that, you've got to be quite specific about the type of plants you have in there, so that they don't take over, and plants that need to survive in pots. So that's really interesting. And also garden offices. People have put in sort of offices in the garden, and they need planting around them. So, but also wild gardens. Space is really important. So people are sort of thinking about the future. They're planting for the future. And vegetable garden, fruit gardens are very popular now. People want to be more self-sufficient and sort of have their chickens in their vegetable garden. So raised borders, raised beds are very trendy as well. Yeah. And interestingly, white and grey gardens, that's the colour trend at the moment. So lots of sort of dazzlingly white flowers and white furniture and grey pots. So that's the trend.
What do you think that is? It's just peaceful, or?
I suppose it is peaceful, and also the trend for lush leaves, so big sort of tropical leaves. Lots of indoor plants are very trendy. So I guess that sort of white, green, grey look is really quite trendy.
It is beautiful, I have to say. Sort of country life front cover job.
Yeah, and it is, very, exactly. But very peaceful, like you say, isn't it? It's sort of, it is calming and clean lines,
easy to manage too, and as I said, peaceful when you want to look at that when you go outside, because life is so crazy at the moment. You need to reach that instant zen, don't you? That happy place.
Yeah, you don't want. Yes, you don't want to have too many colours.
No,
it's a bit overwhelming.
No, a bit too 80s. Anyway, I'm thinking about Christmas now. Is that one of the busiest times of your year?
Yes, it is. So Suffolk Plant Centre's biggest claim to fame is our very reasonably priced Christmas trees from our own plantations in Scotland. The pot-grown trees that we sell are produced here in Pettistry. It does feel a little out of season to be talking about Christmas trees, but it is a big highlight of our year. It creates a lot of new custom, as the trees are beautiful and well renowned. And the sort of the reasonable price obviously helps to spread the word. The trees are sort of a Nordman fir, which are very good at retaining their needles. They last a long time in the house, so you can put the tree up extra early. Have it, by the end of November.
That's
can have your tree.
Music to my ears.
Yeah.
And how big are they?
Extend the Christmas period.
Really important. It was last year as well, particularly. Anyway, and what sort of size are these trees?
So we have them from 5 foot right up to 12 foot. Pubs and restaurants quite like the 12-foot ones to have outside. So that's really good for us too, to have a sort of towering tree. So promoting the plant centre is really good. But so the pot-grown trees are much smaller. They're only 3 to 4 foot.
Right.
But because they're grown in a pot, it means they can continue to grow for many years, and you use them every Christmas. So they've become popular. And then when they get too big for their pot, you can plant them out in the garden.
So you can. And continue to put lights on them even.
Even then, you can have a forest,
Wow.
20 years later.
I'm actually thinking about that.
Yeah. But we are busy all year round. We sort of make sure that we've got plants in all year round, so we can sort of get people to come in. There's always a mass of colour, textures. Really is a treasure trove of plants and flowers. And then even in midwinter, there are plants with colourful stems, and berries and flowers. So no, it's really a special place.
I mean, obviously you deal with the general public. We can come in and go as we like, but I'm assuming a lot of landscaping firms must use you as well.
Yes. So we're getting a good name for, being able to supply instant plants and sort of big plants for landscaping firms. The most popular with those, the Trachycarpus palms, which is also it's called the windmill palm or the Chusen palm, and they're 8 foot, so they're impressive, and they're hardy, so it means that they can withstand our Suffolk climate, and they've got a sort of hairy stem and then lovely big green leaves at the top, and they can sort of go on the coast or in a town garden. They're really you see them on Felixstowe Beach on the front there in the gardens. So they're really, really good. And also, landscapers use us for sort of hedging plants as well.
Yeah, beautiful.
So big projects. So it's good to have a good sort of spectrum of customers coming in.
I think it's great that palms can live quite happily here in Suffolk. Yeah.
Well, I think they're quite tough, really. They've got tough leaves, and even the slightly less hardy ones, as long as they are protected in the winter, they can, they're quite tolerant of a little watering, and they can be forgotten about for a couple of weeks and not suffer. So they are very popular.
I can imagine. At the moment, we're talking to you in spring. What's the focus on now for most gardeners?
Well, April and May is time for bedding plants for us. So it's a time when there's lots of colour and planting out pots and baskets. So, and especially now, it's important, with the coronavirus pandemic, to have lots of colour. I know we were talking about white gardens, but we are finding that now that April and May is coming in, people are even more desperate to get colour into their pots and baskets. And the coronavirus it's sort of proved how important gardening is to us as a nation. It's been vital for mental and physical health. And we were able to remain open during the last 2 lockdowns, and that was a sort of lifeline for many people over the past year, and it was somewhere to come and forget about the troubles of the outside world, have a chat with us and immerse themselves in a paradise of plants.
Yeah. You put it so well. I mean, it has been an absolute godsend to be able to at least to do that. I think I think everybody I know has been to a garden centre several times, and even we would never have normally gone, but we have been. Now, this is a big anniversary for the Suffolk Plant Centre this May.
Yes, so it's our 5-year anniversary, which we're very proud of. And although the nursery itself has a long heritage of growing plants, it's 180 years ago there's a nursery started here. But the actual plant centre opened in 2016, and we will be celebrating. We'll have extra special offers and promotions, so you can follow us on Facebook. So we'll be running our special offers and promotions on Facebook and Instagram. So there will be, to keep an eye out for those in May. Just want to really thank our brilliant customers for their support over the last 5 years, and especially this last year and into this year. And it's just been such a pleasure to play a part in all the garden creations. And I just wanted to say thank you to our enthusiastic, hardworking and passionate team, and really special thanks to Bella, my colleague, who's been here from day one, come rain or shine. Thank you for your passion and excellent customer service. It's much appreciated.
I think that's pretty much it, and we just need to know where you are.
Yes, so we're at Suffolk Plant Centre. The address is the Nursery, Main Road in Pettistry. We're near Wickham Market, which is not far north of Woodbridge.
Okay.
And we're open 7 days a week, 364 days of the year. So, but you can visit our website, which is suffolkplantcentre.co.uk, and we are on Instagram and Facebook.
You certainly are. You are. I love your posts. They're always so colourful and interesting. Thank you, Harriet, and from Mark and I, a very, very happy anniversary to you all.
Well, thank you for having me on the show, and we look forward to welcoming you soon at the Suffolk Plant Centre.
Super. Thanks. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the Suffolk Pod Show. Find us on Facebook, Twitter or Instagram, or you can visit our website, podtalk.co.uk. And here's our disclaimer.
The Suffolk Pod Show will not be held responsible for any omissions or errors in its podcast.
The Suffolk Pod Show is produced purely for entertainment purposes. Views and opinions are that of our own or that of our guests.